Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Telly Palmer, and today I'm going to be talking about my Dracula haul and reviews that I've done this week. But first I want to say thank you to everyone who viewed my last video, liked and subscribed. I thought I was going to be lucky if I got one person to, watch my video. So thank you very much. That, means a lot, Yeah, I don't think anyone was going to watch it because, there's so many great other channels. But thank you. It means the world to me. Hopefully I can get some more likes for this video, which would be really good. But, first, this is all my Dracula haul and vampire films that I've watched this week. So the first one is Taste the Blood of Dracula. This is basically I'm just gonna show you all first. Then this is the Fun House. I'm gonna show you all these videos first, DVDs first, and then I'm gonna talk about them. Dracula 3D. This was in a horror pack that was only a couple of months ago, so that's good. Dracula again. This has two Blu-rays, one film on Blu-ray, one bonus disc on Blu-ray, and one DVD. So I don't know why we got a DVD and a Blu-ray, because the Blu-ray is fine. The 4K of the classic monsters, the first one. Hopefully we get the second one really soon, because that'd be good. Seance Lot. I might not be saying that right, but, really good film. Really enjoyed this, 30 Days a Night. See it pick up. I've heard this was really good and I loved it. Vamp, a bit cheesy, but it was really good. I'll talk about this one in a minute. The Satanic Rites of Dracula, again really good. This is the sequel, I believe, so I'll talk about that in a minute. Dracula AD 1972, which this was the first one, and I believe this was the sequel because it has the same sort of characters. And it tells about, it has some stuff that was mentioned in this one, in the first one, so I believe this is a sequel. And then Dracula, the OG, the original, with all the Dracula films. So you've got Dracula 1931, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Dracula, and also it does have a couple of Frankenstein movies in it, House of Frankenstein and Albert and Costello Meet Frankenstein. But, I'm not going to talk about the Frankenstein ones because, I'm going to be doing a video for next week all about the Frankenstein movies. So, hopefully if this gets a lot of likes, I'll do that. Okay. First of all, I'll talk about this one because it's in my hand. Dracula, the 1931 edition. I didn't watch the Spanish version because, it's in Spanish to start off with. And I can't read the subtitles. So there's no point me watching the Spanish version. So I watched the English version. Really good. It was nice to see how the OG one was. But the only problem was, I really enjoyed the film, but I couldn't work out how, at the end, how they got rid of Dracula. Because I must have looked away for 2 seconds or not, or had a bit of a drink, a bit of Coke, Diet Coke, sorry. And, and then it ended. So I don't know how they killed Dracula. Obviously I can work it out, but the fact that it's, suddenly they're saying Dracula's dead forever, and then, it ends. So I missed out on that. So, You know, that was a bit disappointing, you know, that, but, you know, I can work out how they did it. Dracula's Daughter, it was a different sort of film. There wasn't, you know, it focuses more on, well, obviously on Dracula's daughter. So basically, Dracula is dead at the start of the film, and they're gonna bury him or burn him. But his daughter gets in the way, and, you know, cremates him herself, and then she ends up meeting this doctor to try and get help for her addiction of drinking blood, and he wants to try and help her, but she's not going to help herself. She hypnotizes her victims, and then, you know, basically kills them to drink their blood. But it's just like, I wasn't looking forward to this film because I didn't think there was going to be, well, you know, there wasn't Dracula in the film, so, but it was really good, you know, probably my least favourite of all of the films that I'm going to talk about today, but, you know, it was still a good film. Basically, she tries to get this doctor to, you know, help her, and then, obviously, by near the end of the film, she wants to get him to go back to her home in Transylvania, and he doesn't want to go. So she kidnaps his secretary in order to trade her life for his. So she wants to, you know, transform him into the undead to keep him forever. And, you know, his friends intervene, you know, at the very last moment. So, you know, he's still human at the end of the film, and he manages to get his secretary back, and Dracula's daughter is, well, sorry for the spoilers, but she dies. Son of Dracula, you know, sorry if I'm going too fast, but Son of Dracula is, Dracula basically, well, it's the son of Dracula, so, the son basically spells his name backwards. I can't pronounce it because, you know, it's like, no, but he spells his name backwards, and he comes over to live in this guest house of a family, and basically he arrives one night, kills the dad of the family, and tries to muscle in, and he marries the daughter who gets the house and the will. So he marries her, transforms her into a vampire, because she's already engaged to this guy, but she says, she basically has a plan to say, well, trust me to her fiance, I know what I'm doing. So she becomes a vampire, marries Dracula in order to kill Dracula with her fiance that she dumped, basically. Basically, her ex-fiance basically one night tries to talk to Dracula and his ex-fiance, and he ends up bringing a gun to shoot Dracula, but the bullets obviously don't work for him, so it goes straight through her, kills her. Obviously she's a vampire, so she becomes a vampire, should I say. So basically the next day he turns himself in to the police and says, I've killed her, but I shot him, you know, I shot Dracula rather than shoot her. So he's like all messed up because he thinks he's killed her. And basically Van Helsing, some friends and the policeman tried to uncover, you know, basically what the plan was. And because otherwise this guy, he's going to be hanged. I'm not explaining this right, but, you know, I'm trying my best. But yeah, I really did enjoy that. Because so basically, at the end, you know, because she comes up with a plan saying, well, if you kill him, I can turn you into one of me, one of the undead, and we can live our life out forever. So he kills Dracula, and then, you know, he hasn't told her his part of the plan, which is he kills her because he wants to, you know, he wants to cleanse her soul because he loves her, but he doesn't want to be one of the undead for all eternity. Anyway, I hope I explained that right. It was a bit of a tangent, so I'm really sorry about that. Okay, House of Dracula, you know, basically a monster film, you know. Basically, you've got Dracula, you've got Frankenstein's monster, you've got the Wolfman, you know. You've got this doctor who's trying to help all these people, well, you know, monsters, and it doesn't go too well for him because, you know, Dracula wants to cure his predicament. So, like, the doctor's giving him blood transfusions to try and help him so he can be normal. He's trying to help the Wolfman to not change into being the Wolfman every time there's a full moon. So he gives him, like, this cranial operation, you know, to basically, because he's got pressure on his head. So he's trying to, you know, he's growing these mushrooms to basically try sort of soften bone. So he's growing these mushrooms to, you know, because they can do all sorts of, you know, different things with these mushrooms. Like they can soften bone, so they can move the skull around for the Wolfman, so it's not pressure on his head. And, you know, basically, then, you know, the Wolfman is tired of becoming the Wolfman, tries to kill himself by jumping into the sea, and obviously the doctor goes in after him, and that's where they end up finding the creature, aka Frankenstein's monster. So they bring him back to the hospital, and basically it's whether or not they say, well, should we revive Frankenstein's creature because, you know, what have happened in past movies. But obviously they're still trying to cure Dracula of his predicament. But the doctor is giving him blood straight from his, you know, from him. And Dracula isn't having any of it because, you know, he transforms the doctor. I'm not sure. I think he did a reverse transfusion. Like, Dracula gave him some of his blood. So then the doctor ends up going a bit mental and trying to revive Frankenstein's monster. He kills some of the members of the village that he's in. And basically, the police and the townspeople think it's the Wolfman killing because, you know, because that's what the Wolfman did. He killed his victims, but it's actually the doctor. But no one realises that until the very end because he tries to kill one of his nurses. But the Wolfman has seen him do this from his hospital room, so he tries to help the doctor, and well, just the doctor ends up going mad trying to kill one of his nurses, and then, you know, the town realises it's the doctor and puts an end to him. So but the Wolfman is cured, Dracula's dead, Frankenstein's monster basically burns in a fire because they set the room on fire. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. You know, it was nice to see all of the, well, most of the monsters in one film. So I really did enjoy that, you know. For me, this would be, if I was to rank all the Dracula films in this DVD, I'd go Dracula, Son of Dracula, House of Dracula, and Dracula's Daughter. You know, I put Dracula's Daughter last because, you know, even though I did enjoy it, there wasn't enough Dracula for me, if you know what I mean. Okay, so getting on to that one. Okay, obviously Dracula AD 1972 and The Satanic Rites of Dracula, which I believe is a direct sequel because it has the same two characters. It has obviously Van Helsing and Jessica. Because I'll talk about this one first. Basically, Van Helsing is obviously a college professor, and he has this hippie granddaughter that hangs around with other hippies, and they get into a bit of trouble, you know, like by the police, you know, not, you know, turning up to random parties and, you know, being evicted from the parties by force, you know, drug charges, that sort of thing. But one night they you know, they have this weird friend that they met at a party one time, and basically he says, well, he's going to perform a satanic ritual, and they're all like, you know, mucking about and don't think it's real, apart from this guy who is a servant of Dracula. And basically they all turn up at this church and where Dracula is buried, and it gets a little bit too real, that, you know, because you know, the drinking blood, you know, well, some of them are drinking, one of them's drinking blood, and it gets a bit too real for them. They get a bit too spooked, and what they don't realise is when they all leave the church, they've actually summoned Dracula. So Dracula's appeared, kills this girl who volunteered for the ritual. So you know, some kids end up finding her like the next day or the day after, because they were playing football near the church and the ball went into the church graveyard. So they find the woman. They've obviously told the police turn up, and, you know, this woman's drained of all blood. So they consult Van Helsing, but also want to know where her friends were and their movements. So basically it's like they're interviewing Jessica, which is the granddaughter of Van Helsing, and she's generally shocked because, you know, she was a close friend. So basically it's like Dracula's taking out all the women of the group in order to get to Jessica, because he's going to make her his bride. And, you know, it's like the police aren't believing Van Helsing. Officially they're not believe, you know, officially they can't believe it, but unofficially they're going to do everything Van Helsing says. So basically Dracula kidnaps Jessica. Van Helsing's trying to get her back. And yeah, it's a really good film. It's, you know, it's just a typical Dracula film. You know, Dracula comes back. You know, a lot of these films are just, you know, Dracula kidnaps the girl. Dracula, you know, drains a lot of girl's blood. So it's, you know, it's really good. Right, The Satanic Rites of Dracula. Again, like I said to you before, I believe it's a direct sequel because it still has Van Helsing and Jessica. Obviously, Jessica is played by a different actress in this film. But basically, at the start of this film, there's a guy in like this satanic venue, but he's, you know, he's a Secret Service member trying to find out what's going on so they can stop it. But basically it's this cult who performs rituals in order to, you know, to please Dracula, because basically after this, you know, Dracula comes back and has been for 2 years. So basically Dracula's the head of this company who performs satanic rites for him to please him. And obviously, you know, he's trying to destroy Van Helsing again. But obviously, the Secret Service know what's going on, because they've sent a man in who they're to dies, because, you know, he's been beaten by this satanic cult, and, you know, he's had, like, a watch that takes photos, and, you know, he relays what he knows, and then because, you know, he's had such a beating from this cult, he ends up dying. So, like, they come to Van Helsing, who basically agrees to help because, you know, that's what he does, and works out that Dracula is the head of his company and has to try and stop him. And obviously he kidnaps Jessica again, so poor Jessica, she's not having a good time with it. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, Vamp from Arrow Video. Basically, there's these college kids or university kids, whatever you want to say, who's trying to get into this frat house, I believe that's the word, by doing, like, you know, this sort of cheesy ritual, like, for a movie. But then they start saying, well, while you're doing this, we could do better. If you want anything, we can get it for you, you know, sort of supply and demand. So basically, the frat house say, well, you need to get us a stripper for this party, and then you can come, and then we'll see, you know, just like they offer like cable TV, the best of everything in that that frat house. So they get like free drinks, free meals, and all that. So they go to like this small town, to a strip club, basically, to try and get a stripper for this party. But little do they know that most of the people in this strip club that work there are vampires. So basically they go there, try to pick up this this famous, well, you know, the famous stripper of the club, you know, the most popular one. But little does, you know, she takes like the main guy of this group, of this college student, because there's three of them, and they go to the strip club, and she picks up, you know, he tries to go and talk to her, and then they spend a bit of quality time together, and then she ends up turning him into a vampire, and this other friend is just like, well, you know, I'm not really bothered in joining the frat house, I just want to go and get home. And basically they're trying to fight off all these vampires that are coming after them, and this gang that's coming after them because they annoyed them in this cafe. So that not only are they trying to get away from this gang, they're trying to get away from the vampires. But obviously the first guy of the group becomes a vampire, and, you know, says to his friend when he finds them, and says, well, you've got to kill me because I don't like being like this. But spoiler alert, you know, the vampire friend turns up right at the very end of the movie. So because like he's like, you know, the friend is like, I killed you, and he's like, not really. So that was a nice surprise, because he's like, oh, you know, what about night school? Because he can only go out in the night now because he's a vampire. And he's like, I can do all these sort of things in the night. You know, like be a grey shift digger or something like that. So he's like trying to think of his future at the end of the film. But basically, they destroy all these vampires, and it's like, if you've seen Till Dusk to Dawn, you know, because the later half of it is set in a strip club. This is basically all set in a strip club, apart from like the very, you know, when the very first bit when they're trying to get into this frat house. So the majority of the film is set in a strip club. So, you know, it's a bit weird. I mean, they're trying to do all, like, these vampires are trying to do all like these freakish dances, and, you know, to entertain the crowd, and basically it becomes a fourth, you know, they're burning them, the friends are like burning the vampires, they're burning the building, they're putting stakes through hearts, you know, that sort of thing. So It's cheesy, but, you know, it was kind of good fun. You know, the sort of film maybe you can enjoy more after a couple of beers. I mean, it's good. I'd probably say maybe 2.5, maybe 3 out of 5. I mean, it's not a bad film. It's just, you know, it's not like what I thought it'd be. I know it'd be cheesy, but, you know. Okay, now I've got 30 Days a Night. Great film. Loved it. The only problem I had in this film was when the vampires were talking, it was in a different language. And because, you know, there's no audio description in this film, because, you know, it came out in 2007, the first time I noticed audio description was about 2008 and onwards. So this film doesn't have audio description, so I couldn't work out what the vampires were saying. But, you know, basically these vampires take over this town for 30 nights before the sun comes up, because they're in Alaska, and these town people, you know, had to try and fend off them for the next month, because, you know, that's when helpers come in, because they're in a cut-off community. You know, the vampires, they cut off the electric, they cut off the telephones, they kill all the stray dogs. So this town is basically defenceless, apart from, you know, banding, you know, a few small parties together, and, you know, getting supplies, and, you know, just like there's this cop who you know, basically tries to save as many people as he can, but obviously, you know, people are sacrificing themselves for other members of the group. So, you know, one guy blows up some vampires and blows up himself, and then he ends up getting his head smashed in by a vampire, which, you know, not a nice thing, but, you know, but they use this woman halfway through as bait to try and get other humans to come. So, because, like, she's wandering through the town, you know, shouting, "Hello, can anyone help me?" And obviously this small band who are hiding can hear her, but obviously they've spotted the vampires on top of the roof, so watching her and trying to find, you know, watching out for more humans so they can suck their blood and kill them. But I really did enjoy this film. I'm sad that I couldn't find out, you know, I'm sad that I couldn't work out what the vampires were saying, but obviously, you know, there's basically I can work out saying, you know, we must find humans, we must drink their blood, we must kill them, sort of thing. You know, we must band together, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just annoying that couldn't, you know, follow that bit. But I love this movie. I mean, I got this from CEX. I've heard good things about this, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's just going to be a typical, you know, but I really did enjoy 30 Days a Night. So I'd suggest give it a go if you like it, if you like vampire films. Right, we've got Salem's Lot. Loved this film. Apparently there was a sequel, so I will be checking out the sequel at some time. But you know, basically there's this guy who comes to this small town and opens up like this antique store. But, you know, he's only the front man, because basically there's this vampire who comes along like halfway through the film to, you know, change people, drink their blood, and, you know, the town started to have all these murders, like, you know, a kid dies, he comes back as a vampire, then, you know, one person becomes two becomes four, and yeah, basically, when the vampire comes to, you know, suck their blood, he basically scratches on the window to try and get them to open up and let him in. And I didn't know they scratched him because, you know, I'm not a fan of scratchy noises, but, you know, that's the only bit of this film I didn't like. But I, you know, I think it's about a 3-hour film, but it went by like that, you know. I started it, you know, then I had to pause it because, you know, people kept coming around. So, you know, from what a 3-hour film took me about like 6 hours to watch, because, you know, I had parents come around, I had friends come around. So, you know, just, it took me a long time to watch this, but because, you know, I really did enjoy this. So, yeah, that's that. Obviously, the 4K of the classic monsters. I will be doing Frankenstein next if this video gets a lot of likes. But, you know, I know I showed you the Dracula DVD, but, you know, I picked this one up because, you know, it's 4K. Better sound and all that. So, yeah, I will be doing Frankenstein. If you like that, you know, if you like this Dracula, this haul, so, and review. So, if you like that, I'll be doing Frankenstein next. Dracula. Basically, this guy turns up in a town as a librarian to Dracula. But not only is he, you know, applied for a job to be a Dracula's librarian, he has an ulterior motive in order to kill Dracula to end his reign of terror. And he turns up at the castle. Obviously, there's no one around to greet him. So, you know, then when the time comes, this woman who's a vampire comes up to him and says, "Oh, I didn't hear you come in." She says, "Will you help me? You know, you've got to help me. Dracula is keeping me prisoner against my will." And he goes, "Okay, I'll help you." Let alone does he know she's a vampire. Dracula comes in, she runs off, and basically the guy kills the vampire woman once he knows. So basically Dracula takes over other women close to him. You know, he takes over his fiancée, who that becomes a vampire and dies. Well, dies as a human but comes back as a vampire. So she's got to be taken out of the loop. Then obviously, Dracula takes over. It starts to, you know, drink the blood of this other woman, who is the sister-in-law of the main guy. That, you know, so basically, Dr. Van Helsing comes to this town and says, "Well, you know, you had a friend here a few days ago who dies because he becomes a vampire, who is then created and goes to the, you know, goes to his friend's ex-fiance's house, who then, you know, examines the woman, who later dies, and then obviously the friend's brother-in-law realizes, you know, what's happening, because he reads his brother-in-law's diary and wants to help. So they take on Dracula. You know, they're trying to track down Dracula because, you know, he's moved his coffin from one place to another. Then he ends up, you know, putting the coffin in the house, in their house, and they're trying to find him, and they work out eventually he's in the house. And then you know, Dracula takes the wife of the brother-in-law and tries to turn her into a vampire, which doesn't succeed. He, you know, he takes her back to his castle. Basically, Dracula's no more. So I'm not explaining this right, but I did watch a lot of Dracula films, so some of them merge into one, others are a bit more different. But, you know, basically, librarian goes to kill Dracula. The librarian's friend realizes what's happened, tells the family, and they try and hunt Dracula down and, well, basically live without torment. Okay, 3G Dario Argento's Dracula. Again, this is similar to this, but you know, it's in 3D. It doesn't have any 3D glasses, which you know I can't use anyway. So, but like the effect plays out on 2D. But, you know, sometimes in the film it has, like, 3D capabilities, like, you know. So, basically, this guy comes to be Dracula's librarian again. Similar to this, you know, guy gets turned into vampire. His wife comes down. Dracula tries to seduce her and tries to turn her into his bride. And Van Helsing turns up near to the very end and takes on all the vampires and the servants of Dracula. So yeah, pretty simple, but really good. You know, just Dracula's turned into like a, you know, a bat now, flies, you know, just to transport himself from place to place. So, you know, because the townspeople wanted to try and stop him, but you know, he's like, well, if you break my pact, you know, you're going to die, sort of thing. So he takes on, like, about 5 or 6 of these townsfolk that are trying to stop him. And Dracula ends up dying by his future bride, who shoots him. So, okay, this is the funhouse. Technically, this isn't what I thought it was. I thought this was going to be a vampire film. It's not, because, you know, basically I'm including it in this haul just because I watched it, but it's not a vampire film. It's basically a carnival. It's set in the carnival, and these kids try and go to this carnival, and they stay after closing time, and they get, you know, they get discovered that they're getting killed off by this by freakish events, and there's this I don't want to say freak, but that's the correct term. You know, it's not the correct term, but you know, basically this carnival freak is trying to go after them, who wears like a Frankenstein mask during the day, so he's not so he doesn't get provoked, you know, but and you know, but this carnival freak is going after these kids who just want to sneak around after dark, after hours, and have a bit of fun. But you know, not what I thought it was, but still an okay movie. A nice one is Taste the Blood of Dracula. Again, this is a typical Dracula film. Basically, these men are trying to extend their passions of life. So end up finding this guy who says, well, if you do what I say and buy this relic, you can extend your pleasure, should I say, by infinity. So they end up going to this abandoned church to, you know, for the satanic ritual to obviously bring back Dracula. And of course, they don't go through with it, the 3 guys, because they're a bit scared. So the servant of Dracula goes through with it, ends up turning into Dracula, and basically Dracula goes after them because they've killed his servant. So basically, he takes over again. You know, he changes these girls, these women, into vampires to kill the men that killed his servant. And you know, they're trying to work out what's happening, because one of them dies, and then like you know, one of these guys dies, and they're thinking, well, did actually what we do really work? So they're trying to find out, but they're getting picked off one by one by Dracula and his servants, well, the vampire girls, because like they're, you know, they're putting stakes through the guys' hearts. You know, they're killing their dads, that, you know, just because they annoyed Dracula, basically. So yeah. So I know I'm not going into much detail with some of these films, but you know, a Dracula film's a Dracula film, basically, you know. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. So that was all of them, once again. I mean, if you like this video, like, subscribe, you know, and, you know, I would like to get five likes for this video if possible, you know. But if you do like this, you know, I will be doing a Frankenstein video next week. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.